Welcome back to another episode of Profit on Purpose podcast. I'm joined with my recently good friend, Will Housh. Will, welcome.
Thank you very much. Great to be here, Christian.
I'm excited to have you on. You were somebody that as soon as the kind of podcast creation came to fruition, as soon as the idea came in, you were somebody who was definitely top of mind, and we definitely wanted to get you on.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Cool. So first question is, just so that people who are hearing you for the first time can get to know you a little bit, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and just kind of the journey that led to Contractor Commerce?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I grew up as a third generation in a family HVAC business here in Ohio. And so heating and air, plumbing, electrical, contracting was in the blood. And my grandpa started the business back in 1954. My dad and his brothers grew up in that same company. My dad bought the business in the 80s and expanded and turned it into a full mechanical contracting business. We still had the residential piece. And so I was fortunate to grow up in an environment of entrepreneurship, of ideas, of the ups and the downs that we all know come in trades. And ultimately, I decided to join the family business as well. And so dove in with both. Can you dive in with both feet? I jumped in with both feet.
I believe that's called a pencil dive.
Yeah, you don't want to dive in with both. I don't know. But was fortunate enough to get involved after school and, worked my way up through the business, learned a lot of the different aspects from taking the phone calls. And of course, I had grown up working in the field, learning the sheet metal and installing and ductwork and, helping guys do installs and all that. And so, that background in HVAC and in the trades is what led me to launch an e-commerce business in 2006 to sell furnace filters and other indoor air quality products online. And ultimately, then leading to the launch of Contractor Commerce in 2018. And the idea with Contractor Commerce is all about helping HVAC contractors benefit from e-commerce, incorporating e-commerce into their business so that they can tap into that huge growing market, recurring revenue, and serving their customers in a modern way.
That's awesome. Are you the one in the picture with the shovel? I think it's like maybe your grandfather and your dad probably, but are you the one holding the shovel on the website?
Yes, I am. In fact, I'm William Housh the fourth. And so that picture you're referring to, I think, is 4 generations of William Houshes. That's when my dad, we were breaking ground on a brand new building for the family business in the mid 80s. And so we marked the moment with the groundbreaking and the shovel. Yeah.
It's so cool. So what inspired, what was the thing that inspired you to start Contractor Commerce?
I mentioned that I've been around a family of innovators, and I always particularly looked up to my dad in the ways that he would embrace change, embrace new technology, and find ways to incorporate that into our business. That's what I did when I launched the first online filter store, the filter store I launched in 2006. I was among the first people to do that back then. And I benefited greatly from the rise of e-commerce, the change in consumer shopping behavior, moving online. Technology really helped me grow my business and change the way I was in the trades. So still being in HVAC, but doing it in a different way. And Contractor Commerce was really inspired because I genuinely want to help other contractors do well and run a better business and get more customers and build that loyalty and lifetime value and grow their sales and free themselves from some of the challenges that can come with small business entrepreneurship, and the freedom and the economic benefit that e-commerce brought to me. I saw an opportunity to bring that to a lot of other contractors around the country. And we also just looked around and realized that everyone was buying everything online, products and services in almost any category, but no contractor had an online store. And it just seemed obvious and imperative that change, and someone needed to be the person to create that category of e-commerce for contractors, and we decided to be that company.
That's awesome. Why, why is it that in our industry we are slow to adopt these new technologies?
I've asked myself that question many times. Um, I was talking to someone yesterday, and I was observing that I think that is changing.
Hmm.
So it seems like while historically the trades have been 10 or 20 years behind, I see that gap closing. And I think there's a new generation of sort of technology natives who have grown up with a smartphone and have grown up with these kinds of tools. And they're becoming the owners of these businesses. They're the next
Hmm.
generation, and there's also a lot of smart um, business people that are coming into the trades from private equity, from venture capital, that are launching new technology businesses or consolidating contractors who are bringing new perspectives. So I think yes, that has been the case,
Hmm.
and consumers have suffered because contractors have been slower to adopt. But I'm glad to see that trend moving in the right direction.
And I know you guys have had a lot of success. I mean, we've been a partner with you now. I think we're almost probably getting to 2 years, but and you and I have known each other for probably going on 4 or 5 years. The first time we actually met, but what do you think it is that is setting contractor commerce apart from other people that are maybe in this space right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, the category really did not exist. The idea of e-commerce for contractors was only something that a few people had really dabbled with and tried to hack together their own little solution. And so being the company that has basically evangelized a new category, and we've been in it. We were first. We've built a lot of depth in our product, but I think a step before that is the fact that I was a contractor and members of our team also came from the industry. And so
Hmm.
it is actually built by contractors for contractors. So we know what a day in the life is like. We know how difficult it is to acquire a customer, to serve them well, to keep them for life, to keep your brand top of mind. We understand the struggle and the inefficiency around, for example, getting the right air filter to the right customer on the right day on the right truck with the right
Hmm.
technician, and then the schedule
Right.
changes, and then where's that filter and it got damaged and it's the wrong size and you have to run to the supply house, right? That's just one example. Some startup from Silicon Valley hasn't lived that, and we
Right.
have. So
Hmm.
we've baked that kind of DNA into our product, into our team. The other thing I would say is just how we do business. Our our core values, and particularly around integrity, uh, you know, top to bottom within our team, it's who we are. And so while there's some companies out there that may or may not operate that way, we insist on it. And so that, I think, is another thing that sets us apart.
You teed me up perfectly because my next question, I was going to shift gears a little bit, and I think you're pretty open about your faith, and I think you have a pretty faith-based leadership style. How do you infuse purpose and faith into contractor commerce?
Yeah, great question. And I am a Christian, and I am thrilled that I have the opportunity to bring those values into every aspect of my life, work included. It's not something that's just on Sunday morning for me.
Hmm.
And because of that, and I was fortunate to grow up in a family that modeled that, and my parents in particular were great role models in that area. And so since day one of the business, and as an outflow of how the family contracting business operated for all those years, uh, you know, it has not only been about net income on the bottom line of the P&L, right? It's
Hmm.
been about another bottom line for us. And so from day one, the business has always tithed a minimum of 10% of our company profits. But we go a step beyond that. So it's not just about mailing a check and kind of patting ourselves on the back and moving on. It is also very much about rolling up our sleeves and getting involved. So we've incorporated our values and our faith-based mission directly into the company mission statement. It's on the wall. It's on our job postings. It's part of our annual reviews for our team members. We're here to transform the industry as we transform the lives of orphans and widows around the world. We feel called to this. It's something that's very near and dear to my heart since I was in high school and had an opportunity to go on my first international mission trip. And my eyes were really open to how fortunate we are where we live and the opportunities that we're given to be good stewards of all of those blessings and to find ways to help other people. And so we've gone on international mission trips as a team several times to Mexico and Haiti. We've had opportunities to serve in our local community as well, and sponsor kids and maintain relationships, and just always looking for ways to infuse what we're doing with that sense of purpose beyond just the financial bottom line.
That's incredible. Are there specific nonprofits that you support that you might want to shout out on the podcast?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. In particular, I'd love to shout out Back to Back Ministries, backtoback.org. And they're based in Cincinnati. And that's the organization that was really just getting started back when I was in high school and went on that first mission trip. And I've gone on many, many more over the years. It's hard to believe that's over 2.5 decades ago. But I've been, over the last 7 or 8 years, I've been fortunate to serve as a board member and to deepen my involvement as that organization has expanded to now, I think, 8 different countries and 10 different sites and several hundred staff members all around the world. And so finding ways to make a bigger and bigger impact and make things more scalable is a part of what we do as entrepreneurs. And it's also what I get to do in the nonprofit world.
That's so amazing. And I'm going to throw a little bit of a curveball at you, but you kind of set this up perfectly. So I was meeting with another kind of business leader the other night, and we were talking, and he's also a Christian believer and lives that life, but he's concerned because in the business, they've never really had that as a forefront. Now that it's baked into the mission, it's baked into the value prop statements for the employers and all that, but they don't openly talk about it, right? And so as somebody who does have faith open in the organization where you talk about it, just like maybe share for business owners who want to be able to do that, maybe some of the ways that you do that where it can be inclusive for everybody.
Yeah, I think that's an important topic. And I think it's something that people of faith wrestle with is how do you draw lines and how do you help people know that they're loved and without making them feel excluded in some way. I think first and foremost, it's genuinely who I am. And so I'm just living my life and I'm living out what I believe. And I'm not here to push anything on anyone or force anyone to do anything that they're not comfortable, with. But I think sometimes we can fool ourselves into being afraid of being who we really are and being completely genuine and transparent. And that seems scarier than it actually turns out to be in real life.
Right.
That's been my experience. So, I'm not inviting everyone to a weekly Bible study or a prayer session, although I have had many opportunities to pray with team members. It's it's a natural flow of how I choose to live my life. And, people who are attracted to that and want to grow in that kind of a way tend to opt in. And people who aren't comfortable with that tend to opt out. And that's okay.
Absolutely. And I think, what I shared with him the other night was I think it does start it has to start early in the process, right? So whenever we're interviewing somebody, we always let them know, like, hey, we're a Christian-based company. Don't have to be a Christian to work here, but you might hear people talk about in certain ways or about certain things when we get onto certain topics. And when you see the mission statement, when you see the values, these things may look a certain way, but it's just because that's what guides us. And like you said, it doesn't have to be a one-size-fits-all thing.
Yeah, and I find that it's pretty universally agreeable, the idea of integrity and trustworthiness and kindness and forgiveness
generosity
and peace, and exactly. So I find that regardless of someone's faith background, that those things tend to universally be okay.
I probably am going to end up saying this like 100 times on this podcast, but we pray two primary prayers over our organization, right? The first one is God, please help bring the people to us that can help us to achieve what you want us to achieve, right? And to weed out the people that aren't meant to be here. And then two, make us give till it hurts. And I will tell you on that second one, he's really good at that. He is excellent at making, if you ask for that, he will set it up so that you will have the opportunity.
Yeah. And this is the real mind bender, is that, the idea of giving till it hurts makes me think about the fact that none of it is ours anyway. This is God's company, and I happen to be stewarding it on a day-to-day basis, and these are God's resources as well. So what we're really saying is, God, open my heart to what's really important to you, and you do what you want to do with this. And that's one of my prayers.
That's awesome. I love that. We were in a leadership meeting the other day, and we talked about what would be the worst thing that would happen to your team today. What could let your mind go as bad as it could be, right? And I had a feeling that I knew one of the answers was going to come up, and it was, of course, like, I lose somebody on my team who's super important to me. And it was awesome because we got to have this conversation about how, these people all have a story, and there's a plan for these people. And sometimes that plan includes them working here, and sometimes that plan includes them working elsewhere. And it's who are we to say it's the wrong plan, right? Because that plan is perfect. And so let's make sure that we give them a hug on the way out, and we wish them the best, and we let them know that if the plan ever circles back to us, that the door will be open, and we can't wait to get them back. But we've had some incredible employees leave us and be gone for 4, 5, 6 months, and then wouldn't you know it, the plan was for them to come right back, and they learned some really beautiful lessons.
Yeah, I agree. If you've been leading a business long enough, you've definitely encountered situations like that, and we can choose to shine a light and keep things in perspective, and it's so much better when we're able to do it that way.
Right. And I caveated that with, that is, of course, if you want them to come back.
Yeah, right.
So you brought up kind of leading a business. So you're obviously on the technology side of things. I'm sure you are looking at kind of cutting edge, new things coming down the pipeline, not just in HVAC, but obviously we're both in the home service industry, so we can kind of maybe keep it in that realm. Like, what do you see as things that business leaders should be looking forward to, and should be looking to adopt here in the near future in their businesses to help bring them into the next kind of phase?
Yeah, we're in an exciting time. There's change all around in the area of technology, and I think step one is just putting yourself in a posture to embrace change. I think a lot of leaders, and sometimes leaders in the home services, want to keep doing things the way they've always done them, and more than ever, I think that is setting yourself up to fail, because the pace of change just continues to accelerate. We're obviously very bullish on the idea of serving customers online, right? So one example of, contractors for the entire history of home services have usually had a belief that you have to go out to someone's home in order to give them a an accurate quote on a fully installed whatever it is. And that so many things need to be done where the homeowner takes time off of work and sits down at the kitchen table, and so our view is that today's modern consumer just doesn't shop that way anymore. That's not how they want to be treated. And so technologies that can really starting with the customer and working backwards. How do they want to shop? How do they want to be treated? What sort of transparency are they looking for? How do you build trust with someone? And can you build a business model working backwards from that rather than building a business model starting with how you've always done things and trying to reach customers? We're really excited about the opportunities to incorporate AI, for example, is obviously a huge trend right now. We're only 18 months in, but so much has already happened. Mm-hmm. And so that's one example among many of opportunities to not just get administrative efficiencies to reduce costs, but also opportunities are emerging now to engage customers in new ways using tools like that at scale. And so stay tuned for some very exciting things coming with Contractor Commerce in the next few months. But we're always keeping an eye out for what's next in the trades. It's going to be an exciting couple of years.
It's when I think of your company specifically, but when I think about this kind of idea in general, is like, how can I make it so easy to do business with us? Like, how do I just take away all the barriers and just make it as simple as possible for a customer to do business with us? And to me, it always comes back to the same thing, right? We all have this device in our pocket, and it's like, I don't know I forget the statistic. I think it's like, it's never more than 18 inches away from you, like 97.5% of your day, right? Your phone is just always within reach. And so how do we access the customer where they are, right? And where they live?
Right.
And I will give you a ton of credit because I was actually just talking to my wife about this. I often think in this business, of course, in any business, right? I often think about us being this kind of organism, and often partners who show up, while at the beginning they look like they're coming in to help us make our organism better. Eventually you find out, oh, this was actually just like a parasite that wasn't providing any value and was just taking from the organism, right? And I feel like with your organization specifically, it is set up in such a way that as it's a win-win. As we succeed, you succeed. And it's not this thing where our service suffers the more we use you, or the bigger you get, which I often see, right? It's like when we start with a company and they're at that boutique level, we get a ton of high touch service. Then they start to scale, and then our service quality goes down because now they have to service all these other customers. And so we aren't getting that same level. But with you guys and with Contractor Commerce, it has been nothing but, as we've continued to opt more into the platform, we've only gotten just more and more better service, and our organization has grown.
Well, I'm obviously thrilled to hear that that's been your experience. And I'd like to think that is an outcome of the fact that we genuinely care about helping contractors, and we genuinely care about adding value. And the fact that we get paid to do that is just it's almost like a nice outcome of what we really want to accomplish. When I roll out of bed in the morning, I'm not thinking about how can I extract more cash from more customers. I'm thinking about how can I make the product better? How can I improve the ROI? How can I see around the next corner and incorporate the next thing to make it better and better? And I think if we all look at our businesses that way, or frankly our relationships that way, whether it's home or at work, wherever we are, I think it will enrich our lives.
I spoke at an HR conference, which how I ever got on that, I have no idea. I'm a bit of an HR nightmare around here, but I did get to speak at the HR conference, and one of the people spoke about, that idea of the Sunday scaries, right? And I said, at 5-Star, I like to think with Profit on Purpose, we have Monday motivation. You mentioned like when you roll out of bed, right? I want our employees, when their feet hit the floor in the morning, I want them to think like, when I go out in the world today, the efforts I put in could literally save somebody's life. And so I want to circle back a little bit to, you're kind of purpose driven. You're giving 10% of the profits away. Talk a little bit about how that has helped you with recruiting and retention, and how business owners who aren't maybe doing that right now, but maybe want to, how that can, again, not doing it for that reason, but how that is a lovely side effect.
Yeah, it is. It has definitely been a natural side effect. The team, the way that approach helps build a culture of caring and kindness and serving one another and trust has greatly benefited our business. We have naturally attracted the sort of people who want to be a part of something like that, who don't just look at living that way as something maybe you do on Sunday mornings, but we have a lot of people here who see that faith and giving and service to others is just life. It's a really great way to do life, and work is part of life. It's not a separate thing from your life.
Right.
I was talking to someone yesterday about how I don't like this idea of work-life balance as if they're two separate things.
Right.
You're not doing one and then doing the other. One is part of the other. And so it has helped people know exactly where we stand. And we're right out front with it, and they know who we are, and they know what we believe. And if that's the kind of company they want to be a part of, they find us. And so I guess that's what I'd say on the recruiting and the team building piece. And it's exciting to come to work and know that the person 2 doors down and the person 3 doors down and out in the warehouse and wherever, you've gotten on a plane and you've gone to somewhere like Haiti or Mexico, and you've served in the same children's home, or you've gone to that same soup kitchen, or you've done things like that where you put it into action, and it creates these shared stories and this thread of camaraderie and memories together that you don't always get just by showing up to the office.
We launched this year Profit on Purpose Days. And so that is every employee gets 2 additional PTO days. I know we didn't invent this, obviously. I love marketing and branding, so you got to put a name on it, right? So we call them POP days. So this is an opportunity, and we're really trying to encourage our teams to do things together. We can't all probably go one place. We have 220 plus employees, so it's difficult, for us to all go work in a soup kitchen together, for us to all go plant trees together. But our service department or our service install sales department, who all kind of work really closely together on the HVAC side, could all go off maybe and serve in a certain way. And so we're really excited to see, because we want the employees to really pick. We want them to have the opportunity to choose where do you want to serve. And we're even kind of toying with the idea because we donate 5% of the top line revenue of every sale that we make. So we're even toying with the idea now of, could we give the customer like a list of, hey, here's the kind of the nonprofits. Do you want it to go to a certain one, or could you even write one in, and maybe we can explore that as an option to talk to them, more about, giving there as well. So just really trying to expand the idea of profit on purpose. So I love talking to people like you, because it's just getting more ideas, and I just want this idea of giving. And I know people do it, but to get it more out there, because there has to be thousands of businesses, even just if we just talk about home service, right? There has to be thousands of people out there who are probably thinking, how do I get started in partnering with a nonprofit, right?
I love it, and the way that you're activating your team members and to get them involved with causes that they care about is something that we do also. So I'm on the exact same page. The causes that Will wants to go deep on are not always the things that the person down the hall wants to go and work on. And so kudos to you for thinking about that and activating them, giving them a pathway to do it.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Okay, well, I have 2 more questions. One's going to be super easy, and one is going to be like a bit of a curveball.
I'm ready. Okay. Fire away.
All right, so the first one is just like, I'm hoping there's a bunch of contractors listening, and I am not afraid to share some of the partners we have. I don't want them on this podcast because I don't want anybody to know about them, because I want them just for us. But with you, I see it as a rising tide raises all boats. I love the idea of making our industry a lot more transparent when it comes to pricing. That's one of our big driving forces this year. Transparency is a big thing we're talking about around here. How do we become more transparent to our customer? We're not afraid to put our prices online. I know our competitors go on there all the time because sometimes they forget to not use their personal emails, and then I see them, which doesn't bother me at all. Rising tide raises all boats. So for our audience that's interested in learning more about you, learning more about Contractor Commerce, where can they go?
Yeah, thanks. The best way is just to check out contractorcommerce.com. We got a lot of good info on there, videos and customer success stories, case studies, testimonials. We'd be thrilled to meet you and learn more about your business.
Awesome. Okay, last question. You ready? Here we go. If you were a type of pop, what type of pop would you be and why?
Oh boy. That is a curveball.
Do you say soda or pop?
I say pop.
Are you from Ohio originally? You are, right?
From Ohio.
Yeah,
yes.
So pop makes sense.
No, Ohioans say pop. I say pop.
Yeah, it's a Midwest. Yeah, it's a Midwest thing.
Okay. And I don't drink a lot of pop, so this is tough for me. I would naturally lean towards some sort of healthier beverage. But if I had to choose, I guess I'll say Dr. Pepper, probably because I really like it. And if I'm gonna splurge, if I'm gonna cheat, a nice ice cold Dr. Pepper is pretty good. Also, it's a little bit different. And I think I tend to be a bit of an innovator. I tend to think a little bit differently. So I think I'll go with the Dr. Pepper.
So when you're like 60 miles into like your 150 mile cyclist ride, you're not pulling the Dr. Pepper out of the water holder and just like chugging it down.
You do see the guys, you see the Tour de France guys occasionally. They'll drink a Coke just to get a quick hit of sugar in their system, but I haven't tried that yet. No, I'm so far from that level of fitness that I think if I did that, I'd have a bad rest of my day.
So my favorite part of this question has been that everybody has all started with the exact same like preamble, which is, well, I don't really drink soda. So, which I also don't drink soda. I'm mostly like a water, mostly just a water guy. But so far everybody has said it, but I agree. I love the Dr. Pepper. I do think you are innovative. I think that's a great way to describe you. And maybe, I would say Dr. Pepper has a little bit of a spiciness to it, it's a little,
there we go.
There's a little spiciness. So maybe we'll bring out that spicy side of Will.
Yeah. It takes a bit of spice to start a business and to be contrarian and frankly to find a way to incorporate your faith and what you really believe all the way to infuse your whole organization, because that's not the norm. So yeah, you gotta think a little bit differently, and you gotta be a little spicy to do that.
I love it. I love it. Will, I can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for joining us, and all the success to you the rest of this year.
Awesome. Thanks, Christian. Good to be with you.
Thanks for joining us today. If you found this episode helpful, make sure to give us a follow and leave a review.